Welcome to Nemec's movie. In Paris, married couple Vincent and Sophie have a butcher's shop. Unfortunately, it isn't a very successful shop. They don't have many clients, and those who do come get tired of waiting while Vincent weirdly massages the meat. One day, a group of vegan activists attacks the shop by throwing paint, breaking things, and doing graffiti on the wall. Vincent runs after them and manages to tackle an activist to the ground to unmask him. But his friends immediately come back to push Vincent off and rescue the guy. They kick Vincent's stomach before running away. Later in the day, the couple visits their friends Stephanie and Mark and share that the bank refused to give them a loan to fix the shop, so they'll be bankrupt soon. At first Stephanie shows sympathy, but soon she starts bragging about all the money Mark makes in his own butcher's shop. During dinner, Mark also brags about all the money he makes and gives Vincent a gift. It's a gun to protect the shop. Vincent doesn't have a permit and thinks he shouldn't accept it, but Mark insists and even shoots a toy in the pool as a demonstration. On their way home, Sophie tells Vincent they should separate because their marriage has become boring and she wants a man who her. However, Vincent isn't listening because he just noticed the activist riding a bicycle nearby. Suddenly, Vincent stops the car and decides to confront the guy. He drives in reverse to find him, only to accidentally run over him and kill him. A horrified Vincent wants to call the police and tell them it was an accident, but Sophie points out he just drank alcohol and there's a gun in the trunk, so he'll get a life sentence. Remembering a documentary she saw the other night, she suggests they should copy a famous serial killer who dissected the victims and left the pieces in garbage bags all over the city. Moments later, Vincent has the dead guy on his butcher table and starts cutting him up using his work tools. He breaks him into big pieces, which he then slices into smaller ones. In the process, an ear drops and the dog eats it without hesitation, liking it so much that it barks to ask for more. Vincent throws the other ear, and watching his dog eat it leaves him thinking. After he's done, Vincent goes to his bedroom where Sophie is watching another crime documentary. She tells him he can't sleep there because they're separated now. Vincent has no choice but to sleep on the couch. The next morning, Vincent oversleeps and rushes to the shop only to discover Sophie has sold the human meat he left on the slicer, thinking it was ham. Before he can scold her, the client comes back saying it was the most amazing meat she ever had and asks for more. He tries selling her something else, but she only wants more of that ham. Sophie doesn't understand the issue, so Vincent claims he changed providers, and now Sophie wants to try the new ham. She also thinks it's absolutely delicious, and Vincent tells the women it's Iranian pork. The client buys all she wants, and after she leaves, Sophie demands the truth. When she hears the explanation, she freaks out only for a second before telling Vincent not to throw it out, instead he should try it too. He refuses to do so, but Sophie keeps talking, saying they could sell the whole body to get rid of all the evidence. At that moment, another client arrives. He's a friend of the previous woman, who shared her ham with him, and now he wants some too. The rumors of the Iranian pork spread, and soon the shop is filled with people asking for it. The couple keeps selling the human meat, making good cash for once. When Officer Imac comes by to buy Iranian pork too, the couple gets nervous, but thankfully he doesn't recognize the human parts. In the evening, Vincent has the last bit of human for dinner and loves the taste too. Sophie thinks they should start killing people and selling their meat, which Vincent thinks is a joke. However, Sophie is serious and points out this could save the shop. The next day, their daughter Chloe introduces them to her boyfriend Lucas. He's vegan, but he promises he respects meat eaters and isn't an extremist like those who thrash the shop, an action he doesn't approve of. Vincent and Sophie at first don't mind, but they're shocked to hear that Chloe has become vegan too out of respect for her boyfriend. Lucas won't eat the mushrooms Vincent made because they're soaking in the chicken juice, and he doesn't drink their wine either. He explains he only drinks vegan wine because traditional wine is made of crushed grapes that have dead insects in it. The couple brings out cheese and later a cake, but he won't accept those either because they have milk and eggs. He even calls Sophie an old cow as he explains how they treat animals on farms. After Chloe and Lucas leave, Vincent is so frustrated that he agrees to kill people. They go to a vegan restaurant and begin analyzing the clients, wanting someone with plenty of meat and no stress. The cook is very big, so they choose him as their next victim. When the guy's shift ends, Vincent follows him into his house and gets the knife ready. But when the man screams, Vincent panics and runs away. He joins Sophie in the car and tells her the man defended himself. That's why he had to run. However, Sophie can tell he's lying and says they need better plans. So she shares more ideas she's learned from watching crime documentaries. The next day, Sophie and Vincent go to another town and pretend to be vegan activists in front of a grocery store. When a man insults them, Sophie argues with him using all the data she learned from Lucas. A vegan man approaches them to congratulate them and starts ranting against the system without giving them room to reply. So Sophie has to yell something inappropriate at him to scare him off. A more friendly vegan guy talks to them next, and they agree to meet activism. Moments later, the guy shows up with 2 more people. Vincent and Sophie wouldn't be able to fight all 3 at the same time and get ready to leave. But the trio reveals they're planning to thrash a meat processing plant. Vincent gets an idea and agrees to join them, ignoring Sophie's disapproval. During the trip, they're given masks and one of the activists thinks Vincent looks familiar. The couple distracts him by saying they're florists. When they reach the meat plant, Sophie is shocked to discover it's Mark's business, so she stays outside by claiming she'll be lookout. Vincent joins the trio and has fun thrashing the place, starting a fire, and even peeing on a picture of Mark. Afterwards, Sophie and Vincent go to a restaurant, where she scolds him for betraying their friends. However, Vincent thinks big chains like Mark's are hurting little business more than vegans. He orders a steak but isn't in the mood to eat it because it isn't as tasty as people. Vincent refuses to kill again and Sophie begins taunting him, calling him a coward and saying he only knows to depend on her when things get tough. Her words make him so mad that he raises a fork to hit her, but he stops himself and announces they're over before leaving. Sophie ends up chatting with the waiter and they bond over their love for crime documentaries. He offers to give her a ride, and when they make it to her house, he notices the shop. The waiter finds it ironic that he gave a ride to a butcher because he's vegan. He keeps flirting with her and even kisses her, only for a hungry Sophie to bite his tongue. Since he's bleeding, she invites him in so he can clean up. While the guy is in the bathroom, Sophie tells Vincent this could be their next Iranian pig and makes him jealous by explaining the kiss in detail. A furious Vincent starts sharpening his knife and Sophie gets excited to see him so worked up. However, Vincent pauses when he remembers that the best meat comes from relaxed cows. Sophie decides to give the waiter a massage on the couch to get him ready. When she tells Vincent to go, he starts having second thoughts, but Sophie pushes him into agreeing by mentioning their survival and threatening with divorce. Vincent leaves the kitchen and finds the waiter naked because he thinks this is all a naughty game the couple did to make him join their dirty time. This infuriates Vincent again and he starts beating the guy up until he's dead. At that moment, Chloe comes home, so Vincent washes his face off with fishbowl water and Sophie hides the waiter's clothes with the body behind the couch. Chloe is upset because Lucas broke up with her. Apparently he thought she's been eating meat in secret and that a butcher's daughter carries the love for meat in her blood. She wants to stay with her parents tonight and have the shop's meat for dinner, which causes the couple to freak out. They tell her to go back to Lucas and give him a second chance because he's a good guy. After Chloe is gone, the couple cleans the blood in their living room and proceeds to slice the body. While they work together, they can feel their bond becoming strong again. They throw the waiter's bike into the river and later sleep together on the couch. The next morning, Stephanie and Mark call them for moral support since they found the destroyed shop. Sophie feels bad at first, but she changes her mind when Stephanie still mocks Vincent's shop. Officer Ntomic explains this was done by the same activists who attacked Vincent's shop and even shows them footage. While Stephanie and Mark demand compensation from the government, Ntomic privately asks Sophie and Vincent for more Iranian pork. That afternoon, a long line waits outside the store to buy Iranian pork and the whole body gets sold in just a few hours. Sophie promises they'll have more tomorrow. So in the evening, they kidnap the cook from the vegan restaurant and kill him in the bathtub after some hesitation. As days pass, the couple keeps killing vegans with different tactics. Vincent stops being hesitant and starts enjoying the thrill of the hunt. Every day they have more and more clients and the lines at the shop are incredibly long. The couple grows closer while working together and murdering people becomes such a routine for them that they have silly conversations while killing. One night, they invite a vegan man to thrash a meat plant together. While the guy is choosing a mask, Vincent gets his knife ready. but the man sees him and kicks him before running away. The couple begins chasing him through the forest, but unfortunately they lose sight of him. Sophie thinks their adventure is over. However, Vincent can hear someone moving in the darkness. Then Sophie calls the guy's phone and the ringtone gives away his location. The man panics and tries running again, only to trip and fall. When the couple checks on him, they realize he's already dead, and the fear must have given him a heart attack. The next day, Sophie and Vincent share the steaks made out of heart attack guy with Stephanie and Mark, who admit it's good and their jealousy keeps them more quiet than usual. When Mark takes another bite, he's shocked to find a piece of metal in the meat, and Stephanie recognizes it as a pacemaker. Vincent immediately takes it and tells them it's actually a microchip farmers use to track their livestock. An argument ensues, and when their friends start mocking their little shop again, Vincent finally gets brave enough to call them out and insults everything about them. A furious Mark jumps on Vincent and they start fighting in the middle of the garden, ignoring their wives' pleas. Vincent tackles Mark into the pool and ends up biting his ear off, chewing it without thinking. When Stephanie calls him out, Vincent spits it as if it was disgusting and pretends he was just making a point. After watching a documentary about leopards, Vincent begins copying their camouflage and running techniques to hunt victims more efficiently. From then on, he watches more animal documentaries to copy other techniques, like learning to choke people to death like a snake. Some nights, eating human meat gets the couple so excited that they end up getting dirty. One afternoon, they're having a barbecue picnic in the park, and a guy complains about the smoke and the smell of burning corpses since this is his favorite yoga spot. The couple pretends they agreed to move but ends up killing him instead. Sometime later, the couple attends a vegan event to look for new victims. Vincent is tempted by a very chubby boy and creeps himself out, since he doesn't want to hurt children. At that moment, they bump into Chloe and Lucas, so they have to pretend they've become vegan and only sell meat to earn a living. Lucas comments on all vegans that have disappeared lately and thinks the Union of Farmers or the Butchers Guild are behind it. Suddenly, he kicks the couple out of the event as he calls them butchers, which is overheard by the activist who thrashed Mark's store. On their way out, Sophie notices a black woman and points out those are two flavors they haven't tried. Vincent decides to revoke his not killing women rule, and the couple chases after her. That night, Vincent's knife breaks while he's slicing the woman. He goes to the shop to grab a new knife and finds Namek knocking on the door. The officer just thinks it was curious to see the shop's lights on after hours, so Vincent pretends he's working late. When the dog appears nearby with a hand in its mouth, Vincent yells to scare it off and tells Namek he's got PTSD since his shop was attacked. Before leaving, Namek mentions the missing vegans. Moments later, Vincent tells Sophie that he threw the woman's meat away because he thinks Namek suspects something. He wants to quit killing, but Sophie doesn't because she wants to beat the records of the most famous serial killers. Their argument is interrupted when they hear the doorbell and they get worried, but it's just Lucas. He's come to apologize for losing his temper and admits he feels like he's losing Chloe. Sophie wants him to stay and relax, which makes Vincent realize she wants to kill him. He immediately kicks Lucas out. Then he calls Sophie out and announces that Iranian pork is over. That night, Sophie tries watching another documentary, but she can't stand it and turns off the TV while Vincent sleeps on the couch with the dog. The next day, Vincent tries selling normal beef, but the long line of clients leaves when they hear there's no more Iranian pork. Sophie calls him a coward, and Vincent thinks he doesn't deserve this after everything he did, so he leaves. Later, while Sophie is closing the shop, the activists show up and ask about the florists. In the evening, Vincent comes home and finds the dog barking at the activists' van. Meanwhile, the activists have tied Sophie up inside a butcher's fridge and announce they'll treat her like she's treated animals. When a man is about to kill her, Vincent bursts in with his dog, who immediately attacks the man, hurting its master. Vincent throws a knife at a woman's head to instantly kill her before fighting the last guy, who easily overpowers him and stabs him with his own knife. A furious Sophie manages to loose the ropes and pushes a meat hook to kill the man in revenge, while the dog finishes the last activist by biting his groin. Then Sophie removes the knife and confirms Vincent wasn't stabbed in a vital spot. Sometime later, a documentary is made about Sophie and Vincent. Stephanie and Mac are interviewed since it was their statement that led the police to the arrest. They keep making racist comments about Demac while explaining they asked farmers about the so-called chip, but nobody used that technology. If it hadn't been for the pacemaker, Sophie and Vincent would have never been caught. The couple received a life sentence, and at the end of the trial, the judge asked them if they had any regrets. Sophie's only regret was killing a guy with a pacemaker. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.